Dzień dobry. Witajcie w kolejnym odcinku z Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. Mamy wielką mega wojnę, albo coś, rozmowę trzech królestw. Środek mapy, środek wszechświata, żeby się chciało to odzoomować. Ale mogę tylko tyle. Z jednej strony Lester, z drugiej strony Fargus i tutaj jeszcze Imperium jakieś. Ej, fajnie to w ogóle z daleka wygląda. Ale to będzie musiał jeszcze troszeczkę poczekać. Mamy tutaj paralog z Light City, który mam nadzieję będzie w miarę ciekawy. Poziom 84, to wiemy, że to jest endgame. Raczej powyżej setki się to nigdy nie dobije. I resztę tego odcinka to znowu spędzimy na paru godzinach ogarnięcia sobie tych supportów, bo ciągle jakaś setka ich została, czy ileś. Więc no, ciekawe. Light City zgłasza się do tatuśka Lorenzowego.
Ah yes, please come in.
Thank you.
A, z tymi akcjami tego, że ona się zrzec chciała swojego domu, rodu? Rozwiązać to?
Count Gloucester, I have come here in my father's stead and must return to the front line soon.
Może, może nie.
But I wish to formally apologize for any trouble caused by the recent events in Ordelia.
To nie wasza wina.
Oh, but my domain was left largely unharmed. In fact, if anyone is apologizing here, it should be me. I knew full well what was happening in Ordelia, yet was only able to dispatch a small force to aid you.
It is only natural that a house should prioritize the safety of its own domain. And besides, House Gloucester is tasked with protecting the crucial Great Bridge of Myrden.
Your understanding is appreciated. But for me, I fear this also has a personal component.
Mianowicie?
It is true that I could not abandon the Great Bridge, yet your father has been my compatriot for many years, and I view him as a true brother in arms. Had something happened to him, I would never have been able to forgive myself.
I had no idea you held my father in such high regard.
I have always felt I owed him far more than I was ever able to give.
And what do you owe him exactly?
My lord,
Jak
you have a
zawsze.
messenger from the Federation Army.
Send
Jest
them
jakaś
through.
scenka i nagle bandyci atakują, coś takiego. Chyba, że nie tym razem, ale każdy ten,
Sorry to barge in like this.
każda jedna z tych paralogów po prostu dzieje się coś, ktoś przybiega z boku, ej, się dzieje, musimy mu pomóc, walka jest.
What do you want?
Oh, hey Lysithia. I didn't know you were here, but it actually saves me some time.
You are the mercenary captain who reports directly to His Majesty, yes? Has something happened?
A town south of here has been overrun
No,
by bandits
bandyci
down
się
in
pojawili.
Ordelia territory.
30 razy.
What?
And here I had hoped all those rogues had been suppressed.
Oj nie.
It's just a ragtag group of anyone who managed to avoid extermination at the hands of the Federation. Looks like they all came together for one last hurrah. Since the town isn't too far away, I was asked to come here and see if you could spare any troops.
I will send all I can, but I fear it will be a scant force.
But surely the Federation will send reinforcements as well.
Well, that's the thing.
No.
Everyone's sort of got their hands full preparing for the next battle.
Nie mają jak.
Honestly, they could barely spare me as a messenger.
I didn't realize Claude could be so cruel.
Hey, it's the truth. This is just bad timing. All the big names are scattered off in one place or another. I mean, take you. You're all the way out here apart from the main force, right?
Still your tongue. I'll have you know I'm here on very important business.
This bickering can wait. We need to mobilize what units we have at once.
We? Wait, you're coming?
Am I unwelcome?
Byłoby ciekawe nim pograć, ale raczej nie. Ej, jasne, nie martwimy się. Chętnie zobaczę, jak walczysz.
Hey, the more the merrier. Welcome aboard.
Pewnie tak samo
I am
jak
glad
Lorenz.
to hear it.
Będzie fajnie
For any
zobaczyć.
force would be lucky to have the great Irvin Fritz Gloucester on their side.
Erwin, no.
My military
Super imię.
prowess may not be as renowned as some, but I have bestrode many a battlefield in my
Wiemy,
day.
już chyba parę razy
Sadly, I
się
did not
widzieliśmy.
lend much aid during the recent disturbances in Ordelia, but this is my chance to rectify that error.
In that case, we should be off.
Lecim.
I sure hope he knows what he's doing.
Da radę, o niego się nie bój. Nie stracimy go przecież na takiej misji pobocznej, co nie? Jest Lysithia, jest Loren, znaczy Shez i Lorenz za tatusiek nie jest grywalny, nie ma co tu się zastanawiać. 12 minut 1500, no ja tu jestem tylko dla fabuły. Ale akurat mamy też paralog, w którym obie postacie lubię, co też jest zawsze spoko. Lubię grać, o to mam na myśli bardziej. Więc twierdza do otworzenia i mapa dolna, można od razu to sobie załatwić. Lycitia jest świetna w tym kierunku, to jednak zmienimy kierunki. No i to będzie takie przebiegnięcie się na super atakach. Jak zwykle, Wiwernowiec. Mamy też te ataki, które są równie dobre co super ataki, a nie trwają 3 godzin. Więc mogę sobie częściej pozwolić na używanie ich. Do twierdzy ze czymś takim. Pyknięte. Już ogólnie jestem przygotowany do samego końca tej gry ze wszystkim. Nie potrzebuję niczego więcej. Mam bronie, które chcę, mam postacie, które chcę, mam klasy, mam wszystko tak naprawdę. I od tego momentu po prostu tylko te supporty, misje główne i będziemy gonili przed siebie. Już więcej żadnego grindu czy czegoś takiego nie będzie jakkolwiek potrzebne. Udało mi się nawet ulepszyć, wydaje mi się, wszystkie budynki. Albo prawie przynajmniej na tyle, ile się dało, bo no tego grindu jest sporo, jeśli chce się zrobić wszystko. Ale żeby po prostu sobie radzić na tym hardzie, to tak naprawdę nie idzie z tym źle. Bow Knight. To jest bardzo fajny czar. Całkiem mocny. Powala przeciwnika. Taki wybuch jest dobry do rozbijania tarczy. Fajnie się gra Lycitią z tymi czarami. Jest właśnie mniej więcej taka, jak liczyłem po potężnej czarodziejce. Po prostu przejąć te konkretne twierdze na razie, które gra mi sugeruje. Inni przeciwnicy, mam nadzieję, sami się zlecą do mnie i ułatwią walczenie z nimi. Lycitia, masz tyle tego naładowania. Po twojej stronie troszeczkę nuda, więc... O, jest właśnie wujek Gloister, Erdwin. Takie fajne rycerskie imię. Średniowieczne, podoba mi się. Jak to brzmi? Teraz ty, możesz tędy. Nie ma to dla mnie większego znaczenia. To nie jest obrażeniowe, ale i tak spisuje się całkiem ładnie. Bandyci wzywają pomoc. Teraz dolne twierdze są do przejęcia, więc możemy Lycitię wysłać. A, oni będą szarżowali w naszym kierunku. Czy muszę was rozwalić? Nie muszę, ale po drodze będzie warto. Jak zawsze na paralogach przeciwnicy są idealnie ze słabościami na nas nastawieni. Musimy grać z danymi postaciami, więc gra też ładnie daje nam postacie, które są dobre na daną misję, czy daje nam przeciwnikom, na które nasze postacie fabularnie są tutaj mocne. Jest to idealnie tak zaprojektowane, nie trzeba wiele się zastanawiać. Ta strona dalej do przejęcia. Można troszeczkę pobawić się w te kombosy, chociaż wyłączyłem sobie tą umiejkę za mega kombosów robienie, bo ta szarża jest zbyt przyjemna i nie czułem zbyt dużej różnicy po zdobyciu sobie tej umiejętności kombosowej, więc no tyle było tego gwizdka, tego wybierania specjalnej postaci czy coś. Po prostu sobie to odpuściłem na ten moment. Liczyłem na to, że będzie to jakoś bardziej odczuwalne, jest fajne, ale nie wiem, przez to, że muszę tą szarżę, ten dash oddawać, który no dla mnie jest zawsze definicją grania szezem w tej grze, to tak nie chcę sobie tego odbierać. Strzel coś fajnego. Jeszcze ten mega laser do czyszczenia. Jak się wrzuci jakiegoś przeciwnika w to jest zawsze miło. Licz na mnie. Lorenz dedykowany. To prawda. Czasami może utrudniać, żeby go lubić, ale serduszko ma dobre, Lorenzik. Serduszko ma niezłe. Iksik. Intencje ma dobre, nawet jeśli nie zawsze to dobrze pokazuje. Dobra, Lycitia dobiegła tam, gdzie trzeba. Tutaj mamy Wiwernowca. I jeszcze kolejny biegnie. Po niego. Jeszcze tak. Daje radę, Lorenz. Prawda, niech tatuś będzie dumny. Teraz ty, Lycitia. Czymś takim was potraktuję. Kto ma potężne pole rażenia i potężne obrażenia. Niby tylko w takiej prostej linii tym strzelamy, ale w praktyce jest to dużo lepsze, niż się może po tym wydawać. Czemu?
An understandable impression. We did tend to get into heated arguments at the round table. Your father and I
Mówcie dalej. Kolejne żółte, wow.
have strong opinions about how best to protect our own territories and peoples. We are like-minded.
Powinny te dialogi się wyświetlać i iść w trakcie tych scenek. Te scenki są straszne, dajcie mi je przewijać. Dajcie mi zmienić się na inną postać, gdy te scenki lecą, dajcie mi cokolwiek. To jakby czyni tą grę 100 razy gorszą. Ta jedna rzecz, jakby była zrobiona inaczej, ta gra stałaby się tak bardzo lepsza, gdyby te scenki dały się pomijać, no bo ile można? Ile można? Tak niszczy rytm, mamy tu fajną, dynamiczną walkę, to wszystko strategię, to wszystko, ale połowę walki spędzasz na oglądaniu tych scenek i tak, come on. Co chwilę wyrzucacie mnie z gry, żebym sobie po prostu, nie wiem, patrzył na sufit i myślał nad życiem, nie wiem. Teraz Life City, już ci to podniosę? A już więcej nie potrzebujesz, niech tam to się zachowa. Oni tam gadają. Mamy Dasha właśnie, po to on jest. Dzień dobry. To nie wydaje się nawet ci najgorsi bandyci. Ci bandyci ciemności. Jakieś zwykłe ziomki. Dobra, coś dla Szeza do roboty. Rozwal bandytów w wielkiej plaży. Ta umiejka też się bardzo przydaje. Aż szkoda, że wszystkie postacie tego robić nie mogą. Ale samo w sobie jest to fajne. Nie wiem, w którą stronę oni będą lecieć, myślę. Z tego miejsca będzie najmądrzej. Może Life City jeszcze coś poprosić. A mogę tak kliknąć sobie All Out Offensive. Niech ona sobie powoli biegnie. Nie, na razie po prostu siedzą tam. W naszej bazie. Dzień dobry, dzień dobry. Jakby tylko się zbiegli do mnie. O nie! Robią przeciwną rzecz. Odbiegają ode mnie. I to całkiem daleko.
Your concern is appreciated. Sadly, I think his long years of overwork have finally caught up with him.
To fakt, że tatuś Life City nie ma się najlepiej w tej chwili. Dobra, teraz Life City po tego lewego w takim razie. Masz w miarę niedaleko i... Jak to nie mogę? Nie pozwolę mi zrobić czegoś takiego. To jest bardzo wygodne. Używałem tego może trochę za mało, bo przydatność tego jest nie do opisania. Wiwernowcy, jak jesteśmy wszyscy. I ksujcie się! Lysia biegnie. Tutaj kolejny wiwernowiec. Sprzątnij się jak to z zabójstwami. 1500? Pewnie jakiegoś... No właśnie, bossa dostaniemy. Na razie ja poklikam sobie, pozabijam sobie jak najwięcej, żeby 1500 miał wszystko nabić. Chwilę to zajmie, ale powinno być do zrobienia. Ej, milion się prawie nabił na takich randomkach. Jest szefo. Life City tutaj ma dużo naładowań. I w tej chwili 1300. 200 zabójstw wyłapać. Zawsze spora armia jest koło naszego generała, więc to troszeczkę pomoże. Ale tak poza tym... No, będzie trzeba się wymęczyć. Będzie trzeba poszukać, pokombinować. Różnych takich właśnie generałów nazbierać w okolicy. Tutaj to wydaje się dobra okazja. Poczekać. Dobra, 2 razy coś takiego zrobię. Jestem rozczarowany, mimo tego, że to jest musul, że to są setki wrogów na mapie. No właśnie, że to nie są setki wrogów, że na ogół to są takie dziesiątki, 20, 30. Gdy naprawdę spodziewałbym się grubych setek, żeby gra tego typu faktycznie mogła błyszczeć. I nie czuć zawsze tej skali tych walk. Mimo że są stworzone pod zabijanie tych hord wrogów, to te hordy takie czasami takie marne są, mam wrażenie. Dobra, szefuńcu, zaraz do ciebie podbiegnę. Ja rozumiem, że Switch nie pozwala może na wszystko. Ale no co moja wina? Moja wina, że to na Switcha wydali? Nie moja wina. Pam. Wiwernowiec razem z kolegami. To jeszcze troszeczkę poczyści. 1400 i 5 minut zaledwie minęło. Z tym jest bezbłędnie. Teraz jeśli cię wyślę na szefa, nie chcemy go za szybko zabić. Life City, pam, ta muza jest mega. Dobra, tu się trochę zgarnie tych zabójstw, w razie czego możemy kolegom z tyłu też jakieś fajerwerki sprawić, żeby nie czuli się odrzuceni. 5 dyszek załatwić, 5 dyszek. Ja już coś takiego robię. Czarna dziura. Wszystko załatwi. Jakiś fajny atak na kolegów z tyłu. Jakie fajerwery! Rzadko tego używam, ale jest fajne. Jest to fajna umiejka. 1490, czyli teraz zrobić cokolwiek w tym miejscu. Jeden taki czar. Zaraz jeszcze inny czar, jeśli gra mi pozwoli. Bazowiec. Rozwalony. Gdzie jest szefo? Tam są bandyci. Dlatego właśnie to trochę boli w międzyczasie. Ale... Trafiasz go? Nie trafiła! A to szkoda. Czarna dziura trafiła? Też nie, uciekł. Prawie, że będziesz myślał, że przeżyjesz to. Jeszcze jeden. Będzie koniec, czy przyzwiesz jakąś wielką bestię? Misja skończona, okej. No chyba SK jest pięknie, bardzo łatwo. Animacja latania ciągle najlepsza rzecz z tej gry. Leci pod siebie. Grawitacja jej nie jest
I'm
problemem.
glad the town is safe
Opór
once
powietrzu
more.
nie, ono po prostu leci. Nie musi chodzić. No ja bym wiał, ja bym był tak przerażony, gdyby ktoś do mnie po prostu leciał. Pędzi w moją stronę. Nieważne jakie czary, nieważne jakieś bestie, potwory, cokolwiek nie, sam fakt po prostu unoszenia się nad ziemią i nie robienia sobie z tego nic, to jest poczucie siły i dominacji. I co teraz?
Thank you for your assistance,
Thank you.
Count Gloucester.
Not at all. I only wish I could have been of more use. Sadly, my efforts paled in comparison to those of you and your mercenary friend here, Lysithia.
Prawda?
I wouldn't go that far.
Me either. Honestly, I figured you were gonna be dead weight, but you really held your own.
Szczery szez? To normalne u niego?
Such impertinence.
But it's a terrible thing to grow old. I hope you never have to do it, either of you.
O nie!
But like it or not, I admit I am past my prime.
Te słowa uderzają szczególnie mocno. Znaczy zaraz. W przypadku Light City mówi ci, mam nadzieję, że się nigdy nie zestarzejesz, bo umrę za rok, to się nie zestarzejesz.
You were a tremendous help.
A szez ma
And I
boskie
have no
mocy, to
doubt
może
my
to też
father will feel the same when I inform him.
sprawia, że się nie starzeje.
Please do give him my best. And let him know that we are still the sturdy pillars of Leicester.
Dobry filarz z ciebie.
Of course.
Oczywiście.
That said, I am pleased to see your father has such a superlative heir waiting in the wings. Perhaps Count Cordelia might consider stepping down a tad early?
I cannot say.
As leaders, we often butted heads because we had to look out for the interests of our own realms. But once we have both passed on our title, we could simply be friends. And that is something I would greatly look forward to.
That reminds me. You mentioned earlier that you owed him something?
Ah, yes. It's something of a longer tale, but perhaps now is the time to tell it.
Wow. Z tą muzyką, która nagle zniknęła, robi się poważnie.
When you were still quite young, the Empire often saw fit to meddle in House Ordelia's affairs. As I was on the outside looking in, I was never able to discern any of the particulars. But even as a bystander, it was clear that your father's hardships were considerable. Yet, I did nothing. As leader of the pro-imperialist lords at the time, I could little more than stand by and watch.
Your actions are completely understandable. The Empire would have brazenly ignored any protests of their political interference. As such, we had no choice but to endure their tyranny.
It must have been difficult for you as well. Still, I should have spoken out, if nothing else. I owed your father that much.
I see.
I cannot change the past, but I hope I might help your father live out his remaining years in peace. Perhaps we could take tea together sometime. Reminisce on the old days.
I'm certain he would love that.
Celuj wyżej? Jemu? Co masz na myśli, szez?
Tea? Really? That's your grand
To masz na
idea?
myśli.
Why don't you build him a mansion where he can get old in peace or something?
Okej, coś innego jednak miałem na myśli.
Still your wagging tongue, churl.
No, our friend has a point. Taking tea together is a bit pedestrian, all things considered. For I am Irvin Fritz Gloucester, after all.
Złowieszczy śmiech na koniec. Ładne. Znaczy znowu... Nie wiem, po Light City, po nim spodziewałbym się dużo więcej. Wydaje mi się, potencjałów na takie scenki było, ale złe to też nie było. Dało jakieś tam siły, motywacji, zrozumienia dla Light City. Czucia się lepiej z tą całą sytuacją. Zrozumienia tych dwóch wujeczków, Erdwina i tego ordeliowca. Spoko, jeśli o to chodzi. Przyjemna misja. Nawet fajnie się grało całkiem, ale no każda misja jest taka sama, więc no zawsze się w tą grę fajnie gra, fajnie się gra, ale gdy wszystko jest takie same, to tak no nie za bardzo są jakieś góry i doły, po prostu fajnie się gra. Ale jak mówiłem, to jest czas na supporty i lecimy ze wszystkimi po kolei. Ile się zrobi, tyle się zrobi. 6 z... No tego się nie zrobi, chyba że właśnie po skończeniu gry się odblokuje się zamek Lorenza, ale to kiedy indziej będziemy rozsuwać jego zamki. Na razie Ignac. Bardzo miły koleżka. Jak zawsze zaczytany.
Looks like he's at it again. How's the book, Ignatz?
Could you please not surprise me like that?
Sorry. So, you got more books, huh? They look expensive.
They were tucked away in my family's storeroom. I had my brother send them to me. We're a merchant family. All the books here are technically meant to be for sale, but they've gone unsold for years now, so he sent them without telling my father.
Zapytaj o brata.
Your brother sounds like a nice guy. Are you two close?
We weren't when we were younger, but I guess we are now. We do write to each other a lot, and he listens to even my strangest requests. That's why I tend to go to him for everything. Wonder if he feels sorry for me since I became a knight for our family's benefit.
So, you didn't really want to do it then?
Well, no, that's not... I did it because I wanted to help them. Now that I'm a knight for House Gloucester, I've been able to make a lot more connections with the nobility. If I use that to help my family's business, then I'm perfectly happy with where I am.
If you say so. What kind of books did you borrow?
A bunch of travel journals and collections of letters from far-off places. No matter how painful life may be, it all fades away when I read these books and imagine myself traveling.
Wait, did you just say painful? I knew you weren't happy. What you really want to do is travel around and paint all the scenery you like, don't you?
What? How do you know that?
Na razie jedyne co robimy, to malujemy krwią.
You're not exactly
Tą
hiding it.
scenerię.
You've got books on painting techniques, preparing pigments, and all that kind of stuff right here.
Yes. The truth is, I love painting. I know the world holds all these wondrous sights that I can't even begin to imagine. If only I could see them for myself and capture them on canvas. I used to dream of doing that. But things are different now, you know? I don't regret becoming a knight. And I didn't do it just for my family's sake. I want to do my part to shape Fodlan's future. It's my responsibility as much as anyone else's. That conviction has only grown with every battle. Ah, that must have sounded so arrogant. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassing myself.
Liczba arogancji wyłapana u ciebie 0.
All right. If you're gonna make it that clear you don't regret your choice, then I'll stop pestering you. But this war is gonna end one
No
day.
właśnie,
Why
no
not
właśnie,
keep
o to
your
chodzi.
dreams alive for when it does?
Ciągle nasuwa się to na myśl. Będzie wojna, będzie po wojnie, tak? Masz całe życie przed sobą, kolego. Marzenia będą do spełnienia, jeśli oczywiście tak przeżyjesz tą wojnę. Tak wiadomo, wojna. Ale
Hey,
hej,
do you have a moment?
mam.
What's going on, Ignatz? Finally leaving on that journey to see the world?
No, not that. In fact, we're not going to talk about my dreams today.
Moich?
You always ask questions about me, but you never talk about yourself.
Marzeniem Szeza wydaje się być Merkiem na zawsze.
So, I thought it was high time I asked about you. You certainly have piqued my curiosity.
Zażartuj?
What, you got a crush on me or something?
Huh? No! I mean, I
Yes.
like you, but not like, you know, in that special way.
Jesteś pewny?
I'm joking, don't worry. No need to get all flustered. So, what did you want to know?
Well, since I told you about my dreams,
Dobra, powiedz mi swoje
My
sny,
dreams,
moje
huh?
sny nie wiem. Życie spokojnego, merkowego życia? Luźnego? Easy going mercenary. Można tak? Nigdy się nad tym dużo nie zastanawiałem, no to brzmi jak Szez.
I don't really know. I've never thought too much about it.
Myśli o tym, co dzisiaj zrobi, ale o
Really?
tym, co jutro będzie, to nic.
is there anything you want to do once the war's over?
Just keep going with the mercenary thing.
But we'll finally have peace. You won't have to fight anymore.
Yeah, but that's all I've been doing even since before the war started. I'd just be going back to my old way of life.
Nie wiem, czy tak jest 100% pokój, tak stryk będzie.
Killing monsters, guarding villages. There's still plenty of work, even in
No
times of
właśnie.
peace. And who's to say some enemy from outside Fodlan won't show up?
No właśnie.
That may be true, but isn't it difficult having to constantly fight all the time?
Every job's got its tough parts, but the mercenary lifestyle's a perfect match for my personality. I can't even imagine settling down and establishing roots somewhere.
Yeah, that does sound like you.
Does it now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just meant that you don't really seem like the kind of person who wants to stay tied down.
Nie wiem, czy się z tym zgadzam, co do Szeza.
Think so? Well, whatever the case, I plan on earning my keep with my sword. As long as my body holds out, that is. What about you, Ignatz? You gonna stay a knight once this thing's over?
Wydaje mi się, że Szes tak po kilku latach się zmęczy i będzie chciał już wyluzować na resztę życia. Uzna, że okej, ja tu się napracowałem już, bo były ciężkie dużo lat. Teraz czas odpoczywać przez resztę życia.
I'm not sure. I'll have to cross that bridge when I come to it.
Na takiego Szes mi wygląda.
But if my duties as a knight were to end at some point, then I guess that's when I could make my dreams a reality.
Yo.
If I were to do that, do you think you'd like to come with me as my bodyguard?
Nie wiem.
You do realize I'll be Fodlan's most sought-after mercenary by then. Well, I'm not gonna come cheap.
Oh, really? Then I'll have to work extra hard to save up some money. Because I really do want to travel with you.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Ignatz. I'll be counting down the days till then.
Nie będziesz Szes. Wiesz, że nie będziesz. Czyli wszyscy będą nas na tych supportach zapraszali na wspólne resztę życia. Host! Nie jest odblokowana jeszcze do końca, ale to się da zrobić w parę chwil. Jakiś prezencik. Host!
Just the person I was looking for. Do you have plans for the rest of the day?
No, not really. I'm surprisingly free for once. Thought I'd put in some extra training.
An admirable use of time. But I have a task I could use your help with that should prove even more enriching than training. Will you join me?
Jasne.
Hey, if you're asking, I'm in.
I thought as much. Come, we leave at once.
Holst, isn't this?
Shh, lower your voice. There may well be sentries on patrol nearby.
So this is enemy territory. Great.
See that encampment over there? They set up just a few days ago. It's difficult to tell from here, but it doesn't seem to be that big of an operation.
Wait, so this is a recon mission? Don't we have scouts for this sort of thing?
I've been trying to ascertain how far the enemy has advanced, but lately they've tightened up their security. Too many of our scouts have gone missing. I thought it would be more efficient to look into the matter personally.
Still, I've never heard of a duke doing recon.
It saves everyone time if I do it myself, and I don't have to risk any more valuable soldiers. And besides, this way I can gain even more experience in the field. Even better than training, wouldn't you say?
Speak for yourself. I had no idea what I was getting into, so I'm not close to ready for whatever's ahead.
I know you're not the type to go down so easily. Trust me, you'll thank me for this later. And don't make light of reconnaissance. There are many lessons to be learned out here that training could never hope to teach you.
All right, so what's next? We gonna take a closer look?
Might as well, yes. It couldn't hurt to get into a little scuffle and gauge the enemy's strength.
Sounds like the perfect opportunity to see you fight up close. All right, let's do this.
That's the spirit.
I że co? Koniec? Nie?
You're not supposed to be here!
Seems we've been spotted. My name is Holst Sigisvald Goneril. Those with any skill or courage, have at thee.
Why tell the enemy your name? Maybe recon really isn't his thing.
Tyle? Okej. Nie powiem, że była to moja ulubiona scenka, ale też nie powiem, że nie było.
I admit this is not ideal.
What did you expect? You practically waltzed right up to an enemy
To jest
patrol.
dalszy ciąg tej samej scenki?
I thought if I pretended to be an ally and struck up a friendly conversation, they wouldn't notice.
Chyba inne.
That's why I tried to
Sytuacja
stop
podobna.
you. Not even the greenest rookie would mistake you for an ordinary soldier.
Regardless, it was a learning experience, so our efforts were not entirely in vain. Now let's head back before the enemy finds us.
They've probably got a bunch of search parties out looking for us. We might draw too much attention if we're together. Splitting up will improve both our chances. I'm sure you'll have no trouble on your own.
That's fine by me. It'll be easier for you to slip by on your own as well. Let's rendezvous in front of the nearest Allied encampment. We should arrive before dawn.
Got it.
Got it.
You as well.
I koniec.
Finally. Don't know how, but I made it back without getting spotted. Took longer than I expected, though. I wonder if Holst got back before me. He knows this area better than me, so I doubt he got lost. Could he have been captured? Huh? Is that Holst?
What's that? Ah, you made it. Apologies, I must have dozed off. I was up all night fighting.
Fighting? So the enemy found you?
Quite the opposite, in fact. I happened to stumble upon one of their guardhouses and figured I should destroy it. I kicked down the door, only to find myself staring down a platoon of heavily armed soldiers.
You didn't even check before you went in? Hold.
And that's when the reinforcements showed up. I had to deal with them as well.
Yet, here you are, safe and sound.
Safe, maybe, but completely exhausted. I probably should have looked before.
That's for sure. Another lesson learned, eh, Holst?
That's right. There is no end to what the battlefield can teach us, and I care to accompany me again sometime.
Zrobi się. Czy mam dosyć? Nie ma opcji, że mam dosyć. Powiem, że
Honestly, it can be exhausting trying to keep up with you.
I guess.
But yeah, I guess I'll go. After all, there's never a dull moment with you around.
Nie zgodziłbym się. To było całkiem
I'll
tempe.
take that as a compliment. I think you and I truly make the best of partners.
Tyle. To były nie za ciekawe scenki. Znaczy w porządku, trochę się zało na nich faktycznie, ale takie... Je. O, bye. Trochę czasu minie, zanim będziesz mógł tą więź ulepszyć. Jedną scenkę mamy finałową z Byllet. Jeszcze tutaj ta trójeczka. Lenhart, Ashe. Znaczy Ash, ale ja zawsze Ashe czytam, bo się pisze Ashe.
Hey, what's wrong?
A się czyta
Something
Ash.
on your mind?
Kinda, yeah. Remember before when we were talking about my mom? The more I think about it, the more I'm realizing she really was a strange person.
What do you mean?
Exactly that. Everything about her was kinda just a mystery. I've spent hours trying to puzzle out how she might have ended up in that remote village, but I keep coming up empty. I mean, someone that smart is rare even in the biggest cities, right? She practically knew everything. Even using magic was a breeze for her.
She may not have talked much about her past, but can you think of anything she mentioned that could give you a clue? Maybe something about the people she knew, or unique things she owned.
If she did, it's not coming to me. She's been gone so long now. So, yeah, nothing really springs to mind. I don't even have any mementos to remember her by.
Then we'll just have to investigate.
Okej.
Investigate?
Jak?
As in, my mom? Where'd that come from?
Well, both of my parents died in an epidemic when me and my siblings were still very young. I still have some hazy memories of them. Food they used to make, that kind of stuff. But that's really all I have left. And since they were commoners, there's almost no record of them. All my searches came up empty. I know how much that hurts, so it's not hard for me to sympathize with what you're going through.
Huh.
Really, it's just so I can get my own closure. We don't have to do it if you don't want to.
Okej. Wspólnie szukamy informacji o rodzicach. Rezerwacja, no zgadzam się, bardzo mnie ciekawi tutaj przeszłość Szeza.
All right, I'm in. I'd love to learn some more about my mom.
Mom.
Okay then, how are we doing this thing?
The most sensible place to start would be talking to people who knew her.
Nie ma nikogo takiego.
I doubt anyone in the village really remembers her though. We weren't exactly the most social family.
Still, someone must have known her. It's impossible to stay completely unnoticed in those small mountain towns. It's entirely feasible one of the villagers can tell us something. Or, what about the village chief?
If anyone's gonna remember her, it's him. But for all I know, he could be dead by now too.
Then we'll just have to send a letter and find out.
Okay.
And if we never get a response...
To będzie kolejna scenka, jak rozumiem.
I feel kinda bad sending a messenger out that far, but we might as well see what happens.
Zobaczymy.
Great. Now come on.
Wyślijmy list. No. Bardzo wstępna scenka. I druga z 3 już, tak? Aha. Nie pamiętam pierwszej za bardzo, ale no pogadali sobie chwilę. Ja rodziców nie pamiętam, a ja też, oni tylko nie wiem kim byli. Odcinko 3.
It's been a while since we sent that
Ta
letter.
potężna muza.
But we still haven't received a response.
Pogodzenie się z tym, że się nigdy nie dowiemy.
Yeah, we know the village chief got it though.
Aha.
And we know he read it.
Aha.
The soldier who delivered it confirmed as much.
Polecony, potwierdzony.
He never wrote back. I wonder why.
Hard to say. Maybe he just doesn't want to get involved, or maybe he doesn't remember us.
Obiecał jej, że nie powie?
Part of me almost wonders if my mom didn't make him promise not to tell me anything.
No.
Not that I have any proof she'd do that.
Mm,
It's too bad, you know?
no,
We
szkoda.
should probably assume we're never getting a response and just leave it at that. We don't have any other leads either, so there's not much point holding out hope.
Ja trzymam.
I mean,
Jeszcze przez
yeah,
kolejne
I
15
want to know
sekund.
more about my mom, but it's not the end of the world if I can't.
Jo.
You had to give up learning about your parents too, right?
I did.
No matter what kind of past my mom had, she'll always be my mom. And I'll always be me. I know that she put every bit of herself into raising me, and that's what matters. There's nothing more important than that in my book.
Bardzo, bardzo ładnie
You're right.
powiedziane.
Whatever your parents did before they had you, and wherever they are now, they'll always be your parents.
Glad you understand. And hey, not knowing the truth lets me make up all sorts of stories about her in my head.
Zawsze coś.
Oh, you mean like imagining she was actually a high-ranking noble, forced into obscurity?
Może nie w tym kierunku.
Not a bad idea, but not totally original either. I was thinking more along the lines of a legendary knight, known throughout every inch of Fodlan. Or maybe a mysterious adventurer who came from somewhere far beyond its borders.
That would be incredible if it
Lubię.
were true. And it would certainly explain why she was so knowledgeable. Still, I'm sorry I couldn't help you in the end.
It's all good, Ash.
Aż.
Without you, I never would have spent all this time thinking about my mom and who she really was. So even though we came up empty-handed, I'd say the journey itself was entirely worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should probably get going. Just remember...
See ya.
Huh? I could have sworn I saw the commander here a moment ago.
Oh, you just missed them. I can take a message if you want, though.
Mamy coś?
In that case, please deliver this letter.
Mamy coś jednak. Co? Czegoś tu bardzo nie rozumiem. What? 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 Okej. Okej. Niech będzie.
Ah, it's you.
Wyrzucili.
How's it going? Any
Dostałeś
developments
list.
to report?
Mamy odpowiedź. Nie wiem. Nie wiem.
You mean with my power? Not really, no.
Jak można tak skończyć jakąś historię?
Perhaps using it regularly won't be enough to provoke
O czym wy to?
growth.
Hey, I thought you said you weren't interested. I mean, how many times are you gonna come ask me if anything's changed before you're happy?
Weren't you the one so keen on piquing my interest? I only wanted to check how that was going, if you don't think it's possible.
Oj, O mi pytanie?
It's too soon to say, really.
Right, of course. We'll just have to keep trying then. How about this? Describe the circumstances
Aha,
in which
badamy
you
nasze
first
moce.
awakened to your power. Maybe we can reproduce the situation and see if lightning doesn't strike twice.
Well, I was staring death in the face when it happened. I'd been beaten so badly I could barely stand. But I kept telling myself I wasn't ready to die yet. Then, out of nowhere, it just came to me.
I suppose we shouldn't try to recreate those conditions. Nobody wants a dead officer on their hands. Let's consider some other potentially relevant factors. Who was your opponent? Where did the struggle take place? What time of day was it? Do you think your emotions played any part in it?
O,
I was fighting the Ashen Demon of all people. I'm sure we could arrange another sparring session. As for the when and where, we were in a forest, at night. I'm pretty sure it was a full moon, too. And that leaves my emotional state. But I don't know how I could replicate the intense emotions of being at the brink of death like that.
I see. That context would prove quite tricky to simulate. And if your power functions similar to a crest, revealing itself even when you don't intend it, that leaves only one option. Observing you on the battlefield at all times.
okej. Niech się podda, to na nic. Wspieraj, to ciekawe jest trochę.
Hey, weren't
Źródło
you
naszych
telling me
mocy.
not to give up just a second ago?
I'm not so sure.
Dobra, testujemy. To już była scenka B. Nie pamiętam, kiedy te pierwsze oglądałem z wami. Ale Linharda scenka trzecia. No, brzmi troszeczkę jakby jakoś matka Szeza wrzuciła Arwala do niego i się obudził, kiedy była ważna sytuacja wymagająca tego. Uratowała mu życie. Może? Nie pamiętam dokładnie, jaka była matka Bailev, bo to też było coś z DLC, znaczy nie pamiętam, nie znam po prostu, jaka była historia Bailev, jej matki i co się z tym działo, bo to było w DLC jakoś powiedziane, ale tego nie wiem. Więc nie mogę nawet powiązać tych dwóch historii jakoś.
So in the end,
Obu protagonistów.
it seems we're no closer
Nic
to an...
się nie
You can say
dowiedzieliśmy.
that again. At this rate, the war will be over and done with by the time we make any headway.
That would admittedly be cause for celebration, at least. Your power, like that of a crest, is undoubtedly meant to be wielded as an instrument of war.
Okej.
And as the tides of battle recede, your chances of encountering a life or death situation grows slimmer and slimmer.
Nie wiem, nie powiedziałbym.
Therefore, you'll be forced to use your power less and less often. And that's probably for the best.
Zapytaj, skąd ta pewność.
Why is that such a good thing?
Because we still don't know enough about its effects, both during and after its use. You know, they say even a hero's relic wielded by its corresponding crest bearer will still drain a portion of that person's life. It's reasonable to suspect your power could have a similar impact on both your body and mind.
No to też związane z Life City'ą, tak? Jak robili te eksperymenty krestowe, które zabierają ci energię życiową, to przez to, że jak z tym eksperymentowali, tak to skutkiem ubocznym tego było to, że straciła masę tego życia swojego, co boli. I zarazem straciła pigmenty swoich włosów i ma białe włosy przez to. Ciekawe, jakie inne postacie mają w tych, że białe włosy.
Hey, you're starting to scare me here. Honestly, I was just planning on going back to being a regular old mercenary after the war ends. Can't really imagine life without a blade in my hand, you know?
I should have guessed. I imagine your expert services will be in high demand even once the conflict is over. In fact, the king himself seemed keen on asking you to settle down somewhere.
Really? Not that I'm not flattered, of course, but putting down roots isn't really my thing.
Jak zawsze.
No, I suppose not. Though I have to admit, it would put my mind at ease
Zapraszam
to
cię do
have
siebie, okej?
Want me by your side?
consider the possibilities. A seemingly unarmed attendant who's able to produce a sword in the blink of an eye. It would be a great crime deterrent, don't you think? You'd prove quite handy on my travels.
Kolejna scena bodyguarda. Obraź się! Nie będę się obrażał, ale wyśmiać mogę.
I figured that's what you meant. A pure Linhart answer if I've ever heard one. But how's that any different from a regular bodyguard? Seems like you could just hire one of those and be done with it.
Maybe so. But I don't want to be spending the rest of my life with a random bodyguard.
No po jakimś czasie już nie będzie random bodyguardem, a będzie twoim kolegą, tak?
Hold on. What?
What?
Oh, well, look at the time. It seems I've forgotten an urgent matter I need to attend
Ja coś
to.
mówiłem? Co?
Wait, Linhart! Come back!
Wróć do mnie! Okej, no jak każdy nas zapraszają. Znowu testowaliśmy i się niczego nie dowiedzieliśmy. Hura, hu, hu, wała, bo. Dorotka, daj mi chwilę. Ja muszę tutaj skoczyć do sklepu, bo no. Trzymaj urocze spinki do włosów, stylowe. Myślę 2 wystarczą, nie brakowało ci tego dużo. Nie wyświetla się tu kiedy zaskoczy ten level, co jest troszeczkę denerwujące, ale mamy raczej to.
An opera company smack dab in the middle of the imperial capital, huh? I can't even begin to imagine what that must be like. I mean, I've been all over the place for my mercenary work, but it's mostly just been for small-time rural lords and the like. Honestly, I'd never even met anyone from the big cities like Enbar or Ferdiad before coming to Garreg Mach.
You know, shows in the capital are about 1,000 times flashier than the little town festival shows you might be used to. Every important moment of the drama is conveyed through elaborate song, and at the center of the musical ensemble stands its star, the diva.
Zapytaj bardziej o Divę, porównaj to ze swoim stylem życia, chyba nie. Chyba nie ma porównania.
I think I get the idea. These divas sound pretty incredible. They probably get stage names and everything if they're that important, huh?
Oh, but of course, I was known as the mystical songstress.
Bardzo niekreatywne imię.
Hey, that's pretty good. There always has been this kind of indescribable aura surrounding you.
Thanks, but I have mixed feelings about the name myself. They called me that because of how suddenly a street orphan like me was discovered and debuted.
Yeah, I see how there could be some complicated feelings wrapped up in that. But if you were able to rise from that to diva, you must have the chops to back it up. Not that I can even picture what that would sound like. Hey, do you think you could sing something for me?
Since you asked so nicely, but I'm only doing it this once, okay?
Okej.
How the crimson
Wow.
rain of pain it came,
Byłem pewny, że nie
falling
usłyszymy.
hard upon a land of flame, when the sacred blade it split the sky until the heavens heard our cry. In the hour of vengeance will you heed the call? On the red fields of revenge will you help avenge? We must fight strong and stand tall. Well,
Tyle?
what did you think?
Bardzo nagłe skończenie. Brawa, halo, 6, co ty robisz?
It was, yeah.
Tylko tyle?
What, you didn't like it?
Potężne było.
Not quite the booming applause I'm used to.
Ja też. Nie no, było 100 razy lepsze niż myślałem, że będzie. Nawet tak było to bardzo dobrze zaśpiewane, plus, tekst był fajny, plus, no, że w ogóle dostaliśmy, myślałem, że jakoś pominął to czy co, że faktycznie to zrobili. Zaraz, nie łapię. Prawda jest taka, że nie łapię, czy... Ja łapię.
No, it was incredible, honest. It's just, I'm not really sure I got it, you know? I mean, the only songs I know are the ones sung by mercs in taverns or village girls as they tend the fields. You're kinda in a different league, Dorothea.
Więc czego nie łapiesz?
Sorry, I can't really give you much more than that.
Oh, don't worry about it. This sort of thing happens more often than you'd think.
Well, as long as you're not mad. If you don't mind, though, maybe you could try again for me sometime? I'd really like to hear you sing some more.
A to z napracowaniem
I
supporty.
might even get better at telling you what I thought.
Więc przez nie łapiesz, masz na myśli to, że nie możesz opisać tego. Dlaczego ci się to podobało? Ale też,
Sure.
nie wiem.
I suppose I can give you one more chance.
Trochę trudność z opisaniem, trochę trudność też z przyswojeniem tego, co właśnie usłyszał. Przetworzeniem tego, dobra? Proszę o więcej. Eddie, co? O czym ty do mnie? Supporcik.
That reminds me, I actually found myself at a noble's tea party not too long ago.
Oh, you must be talking about Lawrence, right? He does love his tea.
A, to tak jak tatusiek, to miłe.
No. It happened while I was doing some work as a bodyguard. The nobles who threw the party even gave me a cup of tea to show their appreciation.
Były chyba dwie postacie w tej grze, które uwielbiają herbatę, nie?
I didn't really know what to make of it, though. Hard to say if
Nie wiem,
it
jakie
was
to ma
even good
znaczenie,
or
ale chyba
bad.
były.
Understandable. Settings like that tend to choke the flavor out of any food or drink you happen to come across, among other things.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm built for all that fancy stuff. Hey, remember when I asked you to sing for me? You belted out a verse from one of your operas? It kind of reminded me of that tea. It's like, I just don't have the background for that sort of stuff. If you don't grow up in it, you're not gonna get it.
No.
Everyone has a right to those things, though. Taking in a tragic opera, letting an elegant meal dance across your taste buds. Nobody should be excluded from those pleasures just because they were born a commoner.
Czy chyba nie to miał na myśli? Zgadzam się z tym jak najbardziej, po prostu przez to, że nie jest przyzwyczajony do tego, w ogóle tak kompletnie jest to dla niego coś nowego, to też nie za bardzo ma jakby smak wyrobiony, gust do tego i tak nie zauważa, dlaczego jest takie dobre, jakie jest.
It'd be good if that's how things worked.
You think it's not?
Take my time back as a mercenary. I would have gladly eaten a half-cooked rat if it meant I was getting food in my belly. It's only since I joined up with this army that my palate's become a little more discerning. But what I'm saying is, if you never have the chance to eat good food, then you'll never know what good food is supposed to taste like. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but...
In that case... Oh, sorry. I got a bit caught up in my thoughts there. But I think it might be just as you say. Will you indulge me for a moment?
Sure. What's on your mind?
Właśnie.
When I first started singing, I did it for me. Only me. But it wasn't long until Manuela discovered my gift.
Manuela cię odkryła. O.
So, I joined the opera company. It felt... incredible. I wanted the whole world to hear my singing. But once I became a songstress, I started attracting more and more attention from the nobles. Before I knew it, I wasn't singing for myself anymore. I was singing for them. Now you can't even appreciate my songs if you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth.
Nie zgadzam się.
I don't think that's true at all. Everyone can learn to love it if they want. The only reason I didn't understand was because I didn't have much interest in opera before. So don't belittle yourself like that. Your singing is incredible, Dorothea.
I appreciate that. I really do. But I still can't help but wonder.
Byłem pewny, że usłyszymy jej śpiewanie w każdym z tych supportów, ale jedna z moich ulubionych scenek była bardzo, bardzo ładna. Bardzo fajna rozmowa. Trochę Dorotię poznajemy, trochę Rzezę. Obie strony.
La 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 la.
Gra na moim sercu ta melodia. Jezu Chryste, ta melodia tej gry.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Może ja nie powinienem.
How was that?
Arcydzieło.
Yeah, good.
No.
Still the same reaction, huh?
Sorry, me and singing just don't mix very well. though it did make me feel warm
I to
inside.
jak?
Kind of like I was a kid again with my mom.
Z jednej strony prostota, tak? La 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 la, ale z drugiej strony bogactwo głosu i melodii i to tworzy piękny kombo.
Hey, you do get it! That was a lullaby from a long, long time ago. Nowadays, nobody remembers the lyrics, though. Or sings it to their children, for that matter.
A lullaby, huh? I guess that's why it took me back the way it did.
Edelgard ukradło twoją kołysankę, żeby zrobić swój hymn z niej? Brzmi jak ona.
But wait, if nobody knows the words, how are you so sure that's even what it is?
Well, there was this scholar who researched it a few years ago and said as much. Couldn't tell you if they were right, though.
To działa. To działa.
Huh. Honestly, I kind of liked that it didn't have any words. That way it can hit you straight in the heart without all that lyrics and meaning stuff getting in the way.
Rozumiesz wszystko, Shez.
I'm
Jak
glad to
pięknie
hear
jeszcze.
you giving music a little more thought now.
And I'm glad I've had so many chances to listen to you sing.
2.
Your voice touches people, Dorothea, even if they don't have the knowledge to really appreciate the high-level art of it. I mean, look at me. Bottom of the barrel, and you still practically move me to tears.
Oh, come now, don't talk about yourself like that.
It doesn't really bother me. And I'm not wrong, am I? No birth parents, no real background to speak of. The whole wandering merc gig, it is what it is.
That's quite the positive attitude. I'll have to try a little bit of that myself sometime. In the meantime, I've once again been able to rethink my singing thanks to you. I lost much of my emotion about the craft during my time as a diva, but I can feel it coming back now.
You really are incredible. You know that?
O,
How do you mean?
zaprosisz mnie do bodyguarda swojego też? Albo osobistego
I
krytyka?
know. There's just something beautiful about the way you speak.
Wow.
It's like your thoughts come out of your mouth fully formed, almost perfect, then find their way straight into people's hearts.
Shez, jakie piękne słowa, co się stało?
Probably has something to do with all the training you did to become a diva.
Może też.
And all the training you've continued doing since. Meanwhile, here I am struggling to even make proper sentences when I try to talk about your singing.
To były bardzo udane zdania, Shez.
Thank you for the kind words. It makes me feel a lot better hearing you say those things about me. But for the record, I don't think you're bad with words at all.
No?
Even your little speech now was the definition of smooth. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you were trying to flirt with me.
Nie. Tyle? Jak takich supportów tutaj kolejne 3 bym chciał poznać. Jo, to było strasznie dobre. Nie spodziewałem się za bardzo. Jakieś... Znowu mój pierwszym domem Three Houses było dom Claude'a, drugim Dimitri i trzecim dopiero Edelgard, więc te postacie z Edelgard, jak ona, tak najmniej mi w pamięci zostały, więc też, no jakoś tak nie pamiętam bardzo dużo na temat Dorothei. Miała parę uroczych scenek i tyle, ale to było świetne. To była jedna z moich ulubionych scenek z tej gry jak na razie. Masa serca, masa poznania obu postaci, parę fajnych rzeczy poruszone tutaj u nich. Bardzo dobre. U niej tak to stracenie jakby magii z tworzenia czy śpiewania przez to, że robiła to jako pracę czysto, a nie dla siebie. U Sheza fakt, że właśnie nawet jeśli nie do końca możesz zrozumieć coś, ubrać to w słowa, to i tak czujesz głębię danego dzieła, czujesz, że jest jakieś bogactwo w tym, nawet jeśli samemu niekoniecznie to rozumiesz, że to jest, to jednak jest to zauważalne, odczuwalne. I ładne rzeczy. Shez, u Claude'a nie wiem jak dużo mamy rzeczy, jak cokolwiek mamy rzeczy. Cokolwiek? Nic? Znaczy było pokazane, że coś jest, okej. Podbić waszą relację z Happy będzie fajnie, ale już zobaczmy tą jedną scenkę, bo bardzo mało widziałem rzeczy na temat tych postaci z DLC ciągle. Mimo że są wszystkie bardzo spoko.
Sun's up already? Good morning!
Happy charakteru do końca ciągle nie rozumiem, wiem, że jest zawsze... Przyjemnie się patrzy na te scenki z nią, ale tak nie za bardzo jeszcze znam ją dobrze?
Whoa, Happy, is that you? Where are you?
Żeby tak nawet spodziewać się, jakie scenki, coś sobie może dziać, gdy dostaniemy scenkę z nią i Claude'em, czy z kimś innym. Jak to może wyglądać?
I'm surprised you knew I was here. He just about gave me a heart attack with that impromptu good morning.
I wasn't exactly saying it to you, Claudster, but...
Claudster.
Oh, never mind.
So, you're waking up with the sun, huh? I love it. You're like a step dweller.
And what would that be exactly?
Oh, you know, those folks who live to the east of Fodlan.
But you're also awake. Does that mean you're a step dweller like me?
Hey, my motto is the early bird gets the worm.
Sounds fake.
Oh, but I said it in my most earnest voice.
And your face betrayed you. Still, it's surprising how easy you are to talk with. I figured a king would be an arrogant blowhard, but that's not you at all. You're a lot more comfortable to be around than the Emperor or the King of Fargus.
Not sure if that's a compliment, but it's definitely not easy leading the Federation. I could spend days unloading my troubles on you and only scratch the surface.
Sounds like you've got your hands full. Also, please don't unload your troubles on me.
Don't worry, I won't.
Still, if it's that much grief, why not quit? You could have someone else take your place if you hate it so much. I mean, the whole thing was your idea, so you should be able to step aside if you want.
Sure, I suppose I could do that. But that's not the path for me at the moment. The list of things I want to accomplish is as long as my arm, and if I want to see them become a reality, I've got a lot of work ahead of me.
Well then, I guess you've got my support. I mean, all these heady thoughts and ideas are a bit above the level of yours truly, but I can still give support. So, chin up, Clodster. It's all gonna work out. Someone I knew used to say that. A relative, I think? I can't really remember.
Well, I appreciate it regardless. It's exactly the kind of thing I need to hear right now.
In that case, I'll double down. It's all gonna work out.
It sounds even better the second time. Seriously, you should be telling that to everyone you meet.
There you go again, putting others first. Yeah, well, it's all gonna work out, Clodster. I just have a feeling.
Okej, strasznie przyjemna scenka. Więc Happy z taką szczerością i jakby luzem troszeczkę mówi do ciebie. Mówi to, co myśli, nie robi jakiegoś dystansu pomiędzy sobą a drugą osobą. Bardzo, bardzo przyjemna scenka i czekam na więcej. Tutaj Lorenz, jak już idziemy po kolei, poblokowany z Marianne na zawsze, jak to wszystko z Lorenzem, nie wiedzieć czemu. Pewnie jego historia jest jako zanim jeszcze przejął rolę z głowy domu, tak? Musimy te scenki zobaczyć z nim. Pierwsze. I potem kolejne scenki po tym, jak już staje się głową swojego domu, to jakoś tak łączy się to z nimi. Musi być to jakoś z tym związane.
So you seek to block my path,
O nie,
do you?
Constance.
Do you challenge me? If so, be warned. None can hope to stand against me in a staring contest. Begin! You are a gracious loser to accept defeat so readily.
Myślę, że ona też odpowie miaucząc i warcząc. Lorenz? Cześć, Lorenz. Co ty robisz w swoim supporcie?
Even to ask, but what are you doing?
If it isn't Lawrence spying on me, Well, if you must know, an insolent feline was blocking my path and challenged me to a staring contest.
Jasne, oczywiście, codziennie się to dzieje.
However, we determined the winner quite readily. Were you witness to my victory?
Were you not once a noble?
I was, yes, and still am so at heart. In the future, you will see me as both the head of House Nouvelle and the world's finest mage.
Then it seems I must adjust my perception of you. I always knew you to be a striking beauty who possesses a keen talent for magic. I was even considering you as a candidate for marriage, should you happen to reform your house. But now, to find you competing with a house cat... I beg your pardon. Pray disregard my words.
The gall required to consider a woman as a mate and subsequently disqualify her in the following sentence is staggering.
Prawda.
Staggering, I tell you.
I to jak? Staggering!
You are a coarse, vulgar, indecent boor.
No.
And were I ever under consideration for your hand in marriage, I hereby withdraw any and all possible interest.
Tak mu mów.
Also, you are the head of House Gloucester, yes? Why would I ever hope to marry into a house of such meager standing?
How dare you? The magnificent House Gloucester is anything but meager.
I do dare, and have done. And while I know not of your status within Leicester, House Nouvelle is steeped in tradition, with a bloodline closely guarded and unbroken. I find it hard to believe that joining your house is worth uprooting that.
Well now, I can hardly back down from words such as those. We of Gloucester are legitimate descendants of one of the 10 elites and inheritors of a hero's relic. Long have we held a seat at the Alliance Round Table, why we are among the most distinguished houses in the whole of Leicester. We are no less valuable than House Nouvelle, who, may I add, were condemned to extinction by the previous emperor.
It seems our allegations are doomed to never reach a point of agreement.
Then I suppose we have no choice but to compete, that we may determine which of us is superior.
Że się patrząc w siebie?
Choose whatever battlefield you wish,
Tak jak z
Lawrence.
kotem?
I shall ever be the agent of your doom.
Okej. Ja chcę więcej tego. Jak nie dała Lorenzowi gadać. Dobrze go potraktowała, dobrze go podsumowała. Ale, ba. To zajmie 100 lat, nie wiem jak miałbym to osiągnąć. Nie da się, po prostu się nie da. Po prostu się tego zrobić nie da. Hilda z bratem. Do A może się dobije. U niej też dużo rzeczy poblokowane. Hilda z Dorothy'ą. No właśnie, tak późno do nas dołącza, że jak ja mam nabić te supporty z wyjątkiem New Game Plusa? Nie da się. Nie da się raczej już. Zobaczymy, chyba że dadzą nam jakąś opcję na robienie tego w inny sposób. Bo nawet jak się na walki weźmie te postacie razem ze sobą, żeby adiutantowały się, to naprawdę powoli te supporty lecą pomiędzy nimi.
Is that you back there, Hilda?
Yeesh, Holst, you scared me. How did you even know I was here?
I strive to keep my mind sharp and clear at all times. How then could I not recognize the presence of my own dear sister? It's a feat anyone can accomplish with good, honest training. You should try it sometime.
Honest training isn't really my forte. Same goes for our regular drills. If no one's making me do it, not a chance I'll even bother.
That's because you have the makings of a first-class prodigy. Even without putting in any hard work, your talent shines bright. But now that we're both here, why not train with me? It'll be just like old times.
You mean like how you used to carry me on your back while you were doing push-ups? No thanks. That was fun when I was little, but it'd be incredibly embarrassing now.
No dawaj.
That's a shame.
By the way, Holst, how long are you planning on sticking around with us?
As long as I can. I am not much use if I'm away from our king during a time of war. And though he surrendered his title, Father is still in fine health, so I have nothing to worry about by leaving our territory in his hands.
Uh-huh. So the fact that your little sister is here has nothing to do with you being here?
Not pleased with my answer, eh? I thought you hated when I admit to being overprotective. But yes, of course you're the biggest reason why I'm here. I can keep you safe so long as you're close. Additionally, I must be on hand to punish any scoundrels who attempt to woo you.
Yeah, I don't love that part. It's not just scoundrels who are terrified to approach me now. Still, he's thinking about my well-being, so I guess that feels pretty good.
But there's actually another reason why I'm here.
Oh yeah?
The opportunity to cross swords with the mightiest warriors of the kingdom and the Knights of Seros doesn't often present itself. True valor is only polished in life or death battle, with the most powerful fighters. Just thinking of how I may one day encounter these veterans makes me tremble with anticipation.
Of course it does. So, that's the real biggest reason.
No, don't get me wrong, Hilda. It goes without saying that the most important thing in my entire life is the well-being of my beloved sister.
Yeah, whatever you say. Good luck with the training.
Ładnie.
Wait, I beg of you, wait! My dear Hilda, come back!
Jeszcze jakąś tam animację robił na końcu. I tyle, ponieważ tak to wygląda. Nie zostało dużo. Nie zostało dużo odblokowanych rzeczy. Rafał. Z Ignacym jedna scenka. I tyle? Okej, na razie tyle. Też ciężko będzie kolejną odblokować. Oni są przyjaciółmi tak od dzieciństwa.
Hey there, Ignatz!
Ta ich relacja była spokowa.
Oh, Raphael!
Three Hopes.
I've been looking all over for you. Got a minute to chat?
Of course. With all the battles lately, we've barely had any time to sit down and rest.
Right? It feels like I don't even see you anymore. And I definitely don't have enough time to show off my muscles.
Glad to see you haven't changed at all these past 2 years. The Officers' Academy shut down so suddenly. I scarcely would have imagined we'd all end up back together as part of an army.
Same here. Oh, and I could hardly believe my ears when I found out you signed up to be a knight over with Lawrence.
To be honest, I had nowhere else to turn. I owe a great debt to him and his generosity.
Gotcha. He's not such a bad guy, that Lawrence.
I agree. Tell me, Raphael, how have you been holding up these past 2 years? I hear your family opened an inn.
Oh, yeah. Me, my grandpa, and Maya. Business is going pretty great, if you ask me.
That's wonderful. And how is Maya?
She's as sunny as always. That reminds me, she was pretty worried about you. I better write her a letter and tell her you're okay. I'm sure she wants to see you. Bet you're feeling the same way, huh?
Of course, I'd love to come in. That is, I should write her a letter.
What's wrong?
Life never works out the way you want, does it?
Huh?
Oh, it's nothing. Just thinking back to my childhood. Back then, I felt like I had the power to do whatever I wanted.
What do you mean? I still feel like that now.
You do?
Sure. I know I joined the Officers Academy to be a knight, but that option's off the table. But look at me now. I might not be a knight, but I'm fighting in a war as if I was. All you've got to do is put your mind to it, and you can do anything you want. Trust me.
Yes. I think you're right. Thanks, Raphael.
Tyle. Bardzo wstępna scenka. I nie wiem, czy kolejno uda się zobaczyć. No, mam nadzieję naprawdę, że gra da jakieś później ułatwienie na oglądanie tego. To była też scenka Ignaca. Leonie ma scenki z Geraltem dwie, ale na razie pierwsza.
Captain!
Kapitan.
You again, Leonie?
Leonie.
What?
Seeing as you're strong as ever, Captain
Kapitan.
Gerald, I was hoping you'd train with me.
Your eyes are playing tricks. I'm an old man. I'd never be able to keep up with you kids at the rate you're improving.
You can't mean that. I'm nowhere near a match for you, but hearing that kind of praise from my hero makes me want to devote myself to training even more.
Aren't you a little old for childhood heroes?
Maybe, but I'm still happy. I worked my whole life to be a mercenary like you after all, and now I get to fight at your side? Dreams really do come true.
I'm glad. It's not often childhood dreams actually come to pass. I recall you always scampering a few paces behind me as a kid. You'd stare at me and ask all kinds of questions, even when I was clearly too busy to answer.
Well, I was just hoping you'd teach me about martial arts and tactics and that kind of thing. Before your job ended and you left, I mean.
You couldn't have learned much. I wasn't there long. Yet here you are, standing strong and tall. You have no one but yourself to thank. You grew up without any guidance from this old captain. I'm glad to call you my apprentice.
Thank you. I promise to make you proud.
Będzie pan dumny.
And one day, I'm going to surpass you. That's my new dream.
That's the spirit.
Tak trzymaj.
And I'm not just surpassing you, but your kid too.
No tak.
I had no idea they were so strong.
Guess the topic never came up when I was in Son. We've both been through a lot.
I'm jealous about all the time you two got to spend traveling together.
Nie możesz być o córkę zazdrosny. Nie możesz, Leonie.
I bet their
To tak nie
strength
działa
is due
chyba.
to your instruction.
All I did was teach the basics of merc life. Natural talents likely behind the swordsmanship and tactical ability.
Which means normal folks like me have to put in 100 times the effort just to catch up.
Don't sell yourself short. I wouldn't have taken you on if you didn't have talent.
Talent. Okej. To, czego można było się spodziewać po tej dwójce. I ostatnia scenka. Czy są dwie? A, jest jedna i jest ostatnia. Między nimi jedyna scenka. Okej. Nie wiem, te dwie postacie wydają mi się takimi, koło których mogłoby być spokojnie 4-5 scenek między nimi. I to, myślę, byłoby fajne. Ich charakter tak wydaje się nawzajem fajnie odbijać od siebie. Zobaczymy. No tak liczyłbym serio na 3 scenki nawet, a jedna tylko? Ale jedna typu A, więc po prostu się lubią, się znają i tyle. Nie potrzebują się teraz jakoś przyjaźnić, relacji podbijać do góry, bo już są relacje piękne.
Coco, I'm not gonna make it.
Co?
Happy? What in the world do you mean? You look rather unsteady all of a sudden.
I'm so sleepy. Why not just end my suffering now?
Can you not pull yourself together? You were the one who volunteered for guard duty in the first place.
I know, but whenever it's just the two of us like this, it reminds me of how things used to be. And then I get all nostalgic and sleepy. Usually I'd be in bed right now, you know?
Well, I cannot deny feeling a little nostalgic myself.
I can't believe we're still together after everything that's happened. We had to stick with the church for a while. And then we were lucky enough to be taken in by the Federation. Wild, right? I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like we're best friends or something.
No, jakby jest to pytanie.
Have you already forgotten what you once told me? You said that you would be so utterly lonesome without me to keep you company that it would only be a matter of time before you began to sigh. It was necessary that I stay with you in order to avert certain disaster. I had no choice in the matter, you see?
Did I really say all that?
You did indeed. It was the very day we left Abyss, if memory serves.
All right then, fine by me. I wonder what everyone else from Abyss is up to now.
We know Balthus and Yuri are alive and well, and I believe it is likely everyone else is thriving too.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Do you ever wish you could return to those days, back in Abyss?
Me? Nah, not really. Most of the people here don't know about my power. They actually treat me like a normal person.
Indeed.
Plus, you're here. It's like you said, I'd get lonely without my Coco. What about you? Would you be lonely without me?
Well, lonely is not necessarily the word I'd use.
So it's just me then, huh?
Okay, fine. I would be positively despondent without you here.
There you go. That wasn't so hard, was it? I'm glad you finally admitted it.
You knew? Why must you always tease me so?
Come on. You were pretty happy when I volunteered for guard duty, weren't you?
Yes, well, you see, that was because it had already been assigned to me. I merely thought it would be easier to have a partner with whom I was already familiar.
Same here. That's why I volunteered. I knew you'd be my partner, Coco.
I simply cannot win with you.
Bardzo ładne, bardzo ładne rzeczy, ale to chyba tyle. Zobaczmy jeszcze, znaczy tyle scenek ogólnie, ale zobaczmy ile oni mają jeszcze scenek, one? Z Lorenzem jedna, z Petrą, ale to się będzie tak ciężko nabijało. Znaczy to wszystko zależy od tego, czy gra pozwoli łatwo to nabijać, czy nie. Bo ciekawią mnie pewne rzeczy, na przykład Shamir i Happy, albo Bernadetta, o właśnie, albo Bernadetta i Marianne będą miały scenki, znaczy mogą mieć, jeśli by się udało. Jak widzicie, starałem się tu CIB nabić, tak, ale za wszystkim nadążyć? Nie ma szans. Juriego to chyba żadnej scenki nie widziałem z wyjątkiem tych szezowych. On ma z Marianne, to mogą być dobre rzeczy. A Shebalti, no parę rzeczy jest, ale to trochę za mało. Dobra, to chyba tyle w tym odcinku. Te supporty były całkiem dobre. Te wcześniejsze nie zawsze były świetne, ale prawie wszystkie, które widzieliśmy dzisiaj, mi się bardzo podobały. Chciałbym na pewno więcej z Happy i z Constance może. I z Juriem Baltusem tak samo. Ale to są takie bardzo gościnne postacie, tak są, bo były fajne, bo ludzie lubią. To dodali ich do tej gry. Ale no grają bardzo drugie skrzypce i tak mało co robią. Są tak, żeby być trochę. Nie jest to gra, w której możemy te postacie bardziej zapoznać. Do tego trzeba by sprawdzić sobie to DLC. Na pewno. Happy szczera i otwarta wyciąga przeciwny charakter, tak Constance, która ukrywa swoje emocje i tak dalej, co tak naprawdę myśli. I pięknie jedna z drugą się dopełniają, gdy Happy wie jak trafić do przyjaciółki. Ładne rzeczy. W kolejnym odcinku wielka wojna. Supporty, zobaczymy. Ale teraz to już jest moment, kiedy tą grę będziemy mogli skończyć. Tak myślę. Są supporty, jest grind, jest wszystko, co było wymagane tutaj. Teraz wielki konflikt trzech stron nas czeka. I co później, to będzie później. Będzie później wojna z rycerzami, wojownikami ciemności, z tymi, którzy czają się w ciemności i tak dalej. Więc fajnie, więc bywajcie. Zamiatajcie? Ja